on Thursday, April 13th, 2022 at 3:35 p.m. All members are present. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Oh, thanks. Yeah. Good afternoon. Welcome, everybody. We're going to start our meeting with a public forum. Individuals may address the school committee on only one relevant education-related topic not included on the agenda, nor related to personnel or job performance, nor revealing personally identifiable information regarding students. Individuals may speak for no longer than 5 minutes and must submit a public participation form to the superintendent prior to the start of the meeting. Items discussed during this session shall not be voted upon. Is there anyone that would like to speak in the public forum this afternoon? Okay, do we have any forums? No, we don't. Okay, so next we'll move on to the best part of our meetings all the time is proclamations and awards.
We'll start off with our awards. April is month of the military child. Our military children and families help sustain our fighting force, on whom we depend for security and safety of our nation's families and communities. It's important to emphasize and recognize the role that military children play while their service member parents are serving our nation. April 20th is Purple Up for Military Kids. This is a nationwide Purple Up Day, and people are encouraged to recognize and support our military and veteran children and thank them for their strength and sacrifices. Middletown has a long history of our military families in our schools. And when we talk to our military families, often I ask the children, how many moves have you made? Whether they're in grade school, middle school, and high school. And the average military student faces transition challenges up to 6 to 9 different school systems from their kindergarten through grade 12. So this is a special month for us to set aside and recognize our military families. And this afternoon, we have the captain from our base, Captain MacGyver, here to accept a proclamation. So I'd like to introduce our captain. Captain. Anything, Captain?
Set up as a little bit. So mind if I kind of stand over here so I can?
Sure, that's fine.
Thank you for having me come today to represent the Navy. And if there are any non-Navy folks in here, I know Air Force. So, Captain James MacGyver, submarine driver by trade, by other services. And I've been the commanding officer for Naval Station Newport now for about a little over a year and a half. I got here in August. And I do appreciate everything that you do to support military family members. To your point about how many moves a military family typically does, I have 2 kids. One who's a sophomore in college right now, suffering really loss. And they've come up through the public school systems every place that we live. We live in the North Virginia area for several years of my career, San Diego, Washington, D.C. area, Annapolis, Pacific Northwest, Bangor, Washington, which is just outside of Seattle. So we, like typical families, we've been around. And with the assistance of the school system, individuals like Pam Market, the school liaison officer, my kids have been able to benefit and thrive, despite the fact that they had to move around. I didn't have to do that. My parents did quit. One school started to my kids haven't done that, but the support that the school systems, like what you provide to the military families, is crucial. I definitely appreciate that. And last year, when we did this, it was all virtual. I think what I did was I was asked to make a short video. So a little bit less formal this time, but it's nice being in person. But I definitely do appreciate your support. And
Thank you,
for your
Captain.
support. And anything that I can do as a base commander or the mayor to help with what it is that you guys do, because as I said, I benefit from it, or my kids, because they have been part of public schools throughout my entire career.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And we have a proclamation for you. And I know you introduced our, well, you want to do that? or-
I'm going to introduce our liaison, Pam Martin. And Pam is an amazing asset to our military families and to our community, because she really assists the military families in guiding them to establishments and schools and preschools and all kinds of and housing. So lots of different areas. Pam is a jack of all trades and is a wonder. Well, you're a great asset to the military community here and to our local community as well. So thank you, Pam, for what you do. I have preschool here in Middletown, and so I service over 65% military families. So I'm very familiar with lots of moves, and even from the ages of 18 months to 5, who I deal with, many of those children already have 2 or 3 moves under their belt. It depends on how long, if they're here for 6 months or 3 years, it depends. So it is, you folks are amazing population, and you are amazing supports to this country and to our community. So we thank you for your hard work and your service and dedication for all of what you do, and your families as well. It's just amazing. And I think it's a great asset to our community, brings in such a diverse culture, and it's wonderful. So thank you. And thank you for being a part of Newport County.
Just
I'm
to build a little bit on
yes, I
what
love this.
Teresa has said, our school population, we have 29%, a little over 29% military impacted. We're the most heavily impacted in the state and certainly on Aquidneck Island. So as Teresa said, military has always been a part of our fabric here in Middletown, and we greatly appreciate it.
I love this. April is the month of the military child. Military kids, they bloom where they're planted. And it's a package of seeds. This is just absolutely. This is great. It's true. They really do. And, I find that military children really do transition easily. They are very adaptable. They go with the flow. And a big part of that is from the parents. Moms and dads bring their children all over the world, and they make those transitions easier by how you approach them. And I think that makes a difference of how children bounce from community to community. So thank you for that, because it really helps them to transition into another community very easily. So thank you very much. So now I'm going to read this great proclamation. And I have the worst pair of glasses that I could have possibly found. And this is very small print, so I apologize if I make a mistake. Whereas across our nation and here in the state of Rhode Island, children in military families sacrifice much in order to allow their parents to serve our nation and protect our liberty. In this month of April, people are encouraged to show support for our military and veteran children and to thank them for their strength and the sacrifice they have made and continue to make. And whereas more than 2 million military children in the United States have experienced a parental deployment since 2001, and currently 1.6 million have an active duty parent worldwide. The average military student faces transition challenges more than twice during high school, and most military children attend 6 to 9 different schools from kindergarten through 12th grade. Taking care of our military children sustains our nation's fighting force and strengthens the health and safety of our nation's families and communities. And whereas the Middletown School District serves the largest number of military students in the state, with approximately 321 military connected students, amounting to 16.3% of the student population. And whereas April 21st is also Purple Up for Military Kids Day. The month of April is a time to recognize the service and sacrifices of our military members, their families, and especially their children. They deserve our support. Now, therefore, be it resolved that this House of Representatives of the state of Rhode Island hereby proclaims April 2022 to be Month of the Military Child in Rhode Island, and be further resolved that the Secretary of State be and hereby is authorized and directed to transmit duly certified copies of this resolution to the Middletown School Committee and Middletown School Superintendent Rosemary Krager, Chairwoman of the Military Interstate Children's Compact Commission. So we thank you very much. We want to present this to you. If you'd like to come up and get it and receive it. And we thank you very much for all of what you do again and what you're governing over the military base on the.
Just another point of information on Purple Up Day, the Seconic Bridge. If you go over that, will be the lights will be purple for Purple Up Day. So take a ride over that bridge and come back to us. But it's pretty exciting to see that that bridge lit up. So thank you again.
Thank you. Next, we have another exciting award is Student of the Week.
So our first student of the week, Principal Severo, will present to our grade 4 student. Silvera.
Good afternoon. So I am very excited to be able to present to you today Maggie Berkeley. Maggie is a 4th grader at Gaude Learning Academy, and Maggie actually is here because she's being recognized for being our logo design winner. So when Gaude Learning Academy became its own school this year, we decided that one part of that was going to be to create our own logo. So we had something. We have kind of our slogan, which is anchored in learning, and we asked our art teacher to offer students the opportunity to design a logo during art class. So if you notice on the board, this is Maggie's original design. And we had probably about 300 students that submitted. We had the top 10 that were narrowed down. And then we went through and narrowed it down to 5. And then the students at Gaude Learning Academy and the teachers had the opportunity to vote, and Maggie's was the winner. So we're really excited because once Maggie had her kind of vision, then we were able to work with the graphic designer who's working with the district to create our logo that is kind of, it's a little bit different, but you know, Maggie and I worked with her and we really came up with what worked best for us. So we have this one, and then we have one that's the oval shape, just like the rest of Middletown. So Maggie is a great artist. She loves to do sculpture. That's her favorite piece of it. She is very talented, and we are really excited to have her here with us. So congratulations, Maggie.
Watch the cord. Congratulations, Maggie.
Nice job, Maggie.
Nice job. It's beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
And this is for you. Okay. Keep up the good artwork.
Congratulations. Bye. Thank you. Next, Principal Niemeyer will present the next 2 awards.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm delighted to be here today with 2 students. We seem to have a lot at Gaude, which is a good thing to have. So I'm here with Chloe Tizer today. Chloe's an 8th grader at Gaude. Some of her accomplishments, I guess we'll start off with an accomplishment that I think is pretty huge. I think will lend itself well to high school here in Middletown. She's going to Dallas for a biomedical engineering summer program. Super exciting for an 8th grader, for anybody for that matter. So congratulations on that. A quote from her is her favorite subject is math because she likes problem solving. However, she likes all subjects, which makes her a well-rounded and terrific student. Favorite color is blue. She'd rather not eat broccoli. And when she gets older, she'd like to be an engineer, preferably in the biomedical or aerospace fields. And from our staff, Chloe's an extremely dedicated and hardworking student. She's the first to volunteer and the first to help out other students. She's studious and always strives for the best. Gaude Middle School Spanish teacher, Michael Goudreau. She'd like to thank her teachers for always pushing her to do her best. So congratulations, Chloe.
It's a great job. Keep up the good work. Congratulations. Good luck this summer.
like I said, we have two students of the week. With me right now is Carlos Reyes Gomez. Carlos is a 7th grader with us at Gaudet. He's an English language learner who's natural Spanish speaker. Carlos is a hard worker and willing to take on any challenge. Since he first started coming to school in Middletown in the 5th grade, teachers and staff said Carlos has made incredible progress, always with a smile and positive attitude. I think that's probably the most notable thing about Carlos. He's always positive and always has a smile. His go-to meal is spaghetti. And let's see, comments from the staff at Gaudet. Carlos has such a positive attitude about learning, says his teacher, Jackie Zom, Carlos' 7th grade science teacher. He comes to class smiling each day, ready to take on new challenges. He advocates for himself by asking questions, actively participating, and practices skills by helping others. These actions deepen his own knowledge and also build trust and strengthen our classroom community. He's a tremendous asset to our school, so we're thrilled to have him. He'd like to thank his dad, his mom, and his siblings, particularly his older sister. So this is Carlos.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. And next, I think we have Mr. Soers. Are you going to present the next awards, or is Miss? Oh no, Dr. Heath is here. Okay, you were hiding behind Mr. Richards there.
Were you playing kickball today?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
So I wanted to apologize
With
first
the
off. She
seniors.
missed me because I'm dressed like I came from batting practice. But no, we had an enrichment day with the seniors at the high school, which was really good, along with junior state testing. So
So who
Yeah,
won the kickball
apologies,
game? Because
Dave.
I haven't seen my daughter
it
yet.
was getting a little intense. So I kind of bowed out and did some can jam, but I didn't want to get hit with one of those balls. Yeah, so I backed away. So if I could invite Elena to the podium, I'd really appreciate it. Elena Connell is a 9th grade student with us here at Middletown High School. Her mother, Joy, and Larry Connell appear to be in attendance as well. So thank you for being here, Mr. and Mrs. Connell. Elena, quite simply, is an academic powerhouse. And I think one of the reasons why we chose to nominate her for our Student of the Week at the high school is, after COVID and learning loss and things related to that, it's not uncommon to see a dip in academic performance from grades 9 through 12. And there's really been no dip because Elena, across her classes, which are all honors classes, she can't score higher than she's scoring, essentially. So it's really remarkable what she's been able to achieve in the classroom. And I think even beyond her academic prowess, some of the things that her teachers have said about her are truly remarkable. So Miss O'Brien, her English teacher, says Elena is a powerhouse student all around. She's insightful, thoughtful, and always willing to help others. What a pleasure to have her in my classes. In addition to just being a great student, Elena's favorite color is green. Her favorite meal is pasta as well, seems to be a running theme. And her favorite TV show is The Queen's Gambit. So with that said, I present our first Student of the Week, Elena Connell, to you. Congratulations.
Keep up the good work.
We also have a second Student of the Week at the high school. I do not believe she's in attendance here, but I'd like to recognize her anyway, if that's okay. Her name is Sama Al-Sharabi. Sama is also a 9th grade student at the high school. Notably, she's a bilingual student. She's a standout student. In addition to being bilingual, her teachers say working hard alone doesn't assure that you'll achieve your dreams. That's one of her favorite quotes. And in addition to that, Miss Dumont says Sama has committed herself to being a great student. She gets all of her work in, and she helps other students in class and outside of class. Her people that she would like to thank are her family and her teachers, and she'd like to be a doctor when she graduates from high school. So with that being said, I wanted to honor Sama Al-Sharabi as well. So thank you.
Thank you. I just want to say we give each student a book and as a recognition for their achievements and their successes and how well they're doing. And inside it's personalized to them with their name. So these books are carefully chosen to match where we think the student is coming from. So we just like to acknowledge that's what we do now is we've been doing that for a couple of years of giving books out, and we feel that's a really good thing to do. So enjoy your reading, the students there. And congratulations to all of you. It really says a lot about our district of what kind of students we have. We have hardworking students, we have high achieving students, And we have incredibly dedicated and hardworking teachers and admin teams, of course. But I just think it's important that we acknowledge the success of Middletown. And so thank you for all of you students for working hard. And I see a lot of teachers here today. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your hard work and dedication to to our students. And of course, the parents, it stems from home. So without you, your students, would not be where they are today. So congratulations to you as well. Thank you very much. You can take a short recess if you'd like to go, and I'm sure you have homework to do. Well, actually not much because we're almost in school vacation. So thank you again. That was very nice. Is that a butterscotch?
No, whatever those were.
Oh.
Okay. I see that.
Okay, we're back. Thank you. Next, we have no student activities. We move on to Spotlight on Teaching and Learning, which is the grades 6 to 12 ELA curriculum.
So I'd like to introduce our Assistant Superintendent, Michelle Fonseca, who will introduce the committee that worked throughout the year looking at various curriculums for our English Language Arts program, grades 6 through 12. Michelle.
Good afternoon, everybody. So about a year ago, we sat here and talked about our presentation and recommendation on our K-5 ELA curriculum. And tonight we're here with our 6 to 12 recommendation. So the committee has been working since late summer, investigating high quality materials and taking time to make a thoughtful choice. And I want to start by thanking all of them for participating. We had Dr. Heath and Principal Niemeyer join us, as well as Associate Principal Dennis Soares. And I did ask Mr. Soares to chair this committee, so he's worked hard on pulling us all together through the year and sticking to the goal and getting our work completed. So I want a special thank you to Mr. Soares. Also tonight, we have some members of the committee. I'm going to start on this slide so you can see who was on the committee. From GMS, we had some teachers join us from ELA and even social studies. And then we had teachers from the high school as well in the reading ELA, and Chris Richards, our director. So that was our team that we put together. And as you know, our mission here is to have this high quality curriculum implemented with professional development so that we could have equity for all of our learners. And that's something that we believe in, but also Rhode Island has asked us to commit to. We talk a lot about this. I know you've seen this slide before, but really that our ultimate goal is that equity and increased student achievement for all students. And knowing that all students deserve access to high quality curriculum materials. This is the legislation that goes along with that kind of keeps us on track of all the curriculum that needs to be adopted by districts, including ELA, math, and science. And this is Middletown's timeline, which I can happily say we've stuck to so far. Last year, we did adopt the ELA curriculum for K-5, and it's been implemented throughout this year. And then right now we're in that selection stage for the 6 to 12 with the goal of ordering materials and implementing beginning in September. And then next year we'll begin our math investigation. So that's where we are. We have a busy few years left, but we've stuck to our timeline so far. So I want to go back for just a moment to our group and call up our team. If our team can come up to the podium. I know we have Leanne Wells with us today, Michelle Smith, Chris Richards, Julia Kasberg's out there. I know Mr. Soares is with us. Yeah, did I miss anybody? No, okay. I'd like to thank them all for being here today. They've done a lot of work and spent a lot of time. Ultimately, we have a vision for our literacy, and we all commit to this vision, just having it be something that we collaboratively engage in. We want our students to be avid readers and writers and accomplished critical thinkers. We want them to be effective communicators, and we want them to have good access to texts across all disciplines. This is sort of our vision, our commitment to ELA. And this is our why. Why is high quality curriculum important? All students deserve access to those materials, and we should not have a student's materials vary based on what class they're in or what school they go to. So a Forest student should have the same access as an Aquidneck student, and we should also make sure that our middle and high school teachers are engaged with the same curriculum pieces. We want to support educators in their work, have teachers spend less time searching for materials and more time deepening the content knowledge. And we want to make sure that effective tier 1 instruction using the high quality curriculum can reduce the number of students eventually needing intervention. So we want to make sure that curriculum is strong. And then before I turn it over to the team, I think I mentioned this to the committee before, but we want our curriculum, any selection of our curriculum, to be green lit. And remember what green lit means. It means that it's gone through a criteria by Ed Reports and it's received scores that meet expectations. So certain curriculums are not green lit and they would not be approved as high quality curriculum. So we had to make sure that what we were choosing, what we're bringing to you tonight to recommend is green lit through the Ed Reports. So I'm going to turn it over to the team. I know that this is some of our non-negotiable criteria for selection, and then they'll let you know what their selection was. Julia, do you want to start us off? If you want to come to the mic just so they can hear you on Zoom land.
All right. Hi, everyone. How are you? My name is Julia Kasberg. I'm an 8th grade English teacher at Gaudet Middle School. This committee last summer started our process, and in that process, we took a few meetings to come up with our non-negotiables. And we took our time in creating these non-negotiables because we wanted to make sure that our curriculum was the best that we could choose throughout this process. So some of our non-negotiables were that we obviously needed to be aligned to the Common Core. We wanted all of our races, nationalities, and gender identities to see themselves in the literature that we were choosing. We wanted to provide teachers with strategies for all learners, not just a select few and not just the students that needed extra help. We wanted all of our learners of all abilities to be able to access this curriculum. We also wanted to make sure that the core texts were diverse and that we would have authors that would be represented from all walks of life. In addition, we wanted to make sure that students had choice. We understand that as teachers, we want to present our students with curriculum, present our students with lessons and materials, but that student choice makes them more engaged. So having that student choice piece was very important to us. And lastly, we wanted to make sure that the curriculum that we chose appropriately assessed student growth and mastery. When we were choosing our curriculums, we looked at the formative and the summative assessments, and I'd like to call out Leanne because she went through and did a very wonderful detailed audit of the curriculum that we have chosen. And from her detailed audit, the rest of us English teachers went through to obviously confirm her findings. And we found that the assessments not only appropriately assessed, but definitely will challenge our students for the future. Thank you.
So this is their recommendation. Mr. Soares, would you like to tell them what it is?
So our recommendation is Study Sync. So I want to say too, by the way, Study Sync was not one of our original pieces of curriculum that we researched. We were asked to pick 4 pieces of highly qualified curriculum that Ed Reports gave the okay to. And we quickly narrowed that down from 4 to 1. And in talking with Michelle on the side and kind of with RIDE, it was recommended that we have another piece of highly qualified curriculum to compare that one we had already kind of narrowed it down to. So Ms. Wells came down my office, or she emailed me a very lengthy 17-paragraph email explaining to me that she thinks Study Sync would be a good choice for us to look into. And so I contacted Ed Reports to say, hey, listen, we might need a little more time, talk to Michelle about it. Michelle was very supportive, saying we take as much time as we need because it's a big decision for the district. And we really dug deep into this. Teachers piloted this in classrooms, developed units, used them with students, gained student feedback. gained teacher feedback from other teachers that weren't involved in the process. We really went back and forth, but this was the highly qualified curriculum material that we chose to use. We felt it was very user-friendly online with technology, as that was one of our priorities that we addressed, that we brought up at the beginning. It also addresses a lot of our EL, I don't want to say issues, maybe challenges that we have, because they have many different languages that we're not accustomed to acquiring as a resource online. Our rep did also say to us that she would like to know if there are other languages that they don't have that we potentially may have in our schools as a recommendation to try to get us help with. So it was a very lengthy process. I know we're moving on because we have other things to discuss, but this is the review by Ed Reports of Study Sync. As you can see, very highly rated, 32 through, I mean, it's all in a green. And if it's not in a green, Ed Reports isn't going to recommend that to us. So we looked at all of this, we piloted, we went back and forth. It was an easy decision, I think, from the team. Getting everyone's feedback who wasn't on the team was pivotal. And at the end of the day, we ended up going with kind of the I don't want to say alternative, potentially the relief pitcher, because this wasn't one of our starters. So yeah, pretty cool things happening. So looking forward to it. I know our teachers are excited for it. We're excited to get probably qualified curriculum materials in the student hands and the teachers' hands, because that's what our students really deserve. And our teachers, most importantly as well, because a lot of our stuff is significantly outdated. Some of it might be older than me, but that's okay, because we have highly skilled teachers that are able to adapt to what we have and make it work. So knowing that we have a highly qualified staff, putting highly qualified curriculum materials in their hands makes us feel that the possibilities are endless. One other thing I want to say that's not in the slide is that this also is going to give us an opportunity 6 through 12 to work as a team where we really, I don't want to say we didn't have that before, but we were piecemealing a lot of stuff in. Now that we're not going to be piecemealing anymore, it's going to give us an opportunity to work closely together. And it was a great opportunity for me to work with grades 6 through 8 teachers, because I haven't really had the opportunity to work as closely with them as I have this year. So they did a lot of the work, even though my name is under the chair. They did a lot of the work. I leaned on them. I'm just taking the credit for it, I guess, but they deserve all the credit. I'm just a regular Portuguese guy on the side, just standing behind the podium. So.
Mr. Richards, is there anything you want to say about it coming to the high school or reasons?
I'm okay.
Okay.
I'm super excited about this, and I wish all the English teachers here, 6 through 12, could be in this room just to stand in front of you, because they worked tirelessly in addition to the curriculum we were already delivering to pilot it, spending nights examining it. I mean, that's embodied by these people here. You know, Michelle Smith, wonderful as well. Leanne Wells, I can't wait for them to get up and just to share their experiences. But this is going to be a great step forward for us. And as Dennis pointed out, as a team, 6 through 12 as a team, the things we can do for these kids in this district, and I'm really excited about it.
Thank you. Yeah, I think one of the things that was a turning point for the team was when they started to really use the materials with students. And we heard stories about student response to the materials, and we heard stories about how the teachers engaged with it. We also heard about usability, like how easy was it to navigate, digital components and things like that. And then they also sort of interviewed or talked with the reps of the company, talked about professional development and support. So a lot went into this choice. I don't want to leave anybody out, but is there anything else we want to add?
I also want to never give himself enough credit. The guy was always available to us. I mean, we could email him, we could walk in no matter how busy he was, and he'd talk with us. So I really appreciate what Dennis did over the last year, last summer, the weekends, we could catch him at night. He would always be there for us. So thanks to
Awesome.
Dennis. for
Thank you.
sharing.
Awesome. One of the questions you might have is what other districts are implementing Study Sync. And, you know, I was actually surprised when I emailed the rep and got this extensive list. A lot of them are implementing or planning to implement or piloting. But if you look closely at this list, which is large, the island will pretty much be all using Study Sync, which I know is exciting for our teachers. And then we can work together on professional development, coordinate with Portsmouth and Newport. So I know that this path wasn't straight in selecting this one, but I think it needed to happen this way, the way it happened. And I'm really glad that the team took time to sort of think about and go back and add another, another selection, because I think once they really got their hands dirty with it, this one came out on top. So it was a pretty unanimous decision when we made it. And so I'm really confident that 6 to 12 is invested on the choice. So this is their recommendation to all of you. We do have a quick video that just sort of gives an outline of the program. Oops.
Hello, fellow educators. I'm here today to introduce you to StudySync, a living, dynamic curriculum. Today's learners are immersed in an innovative and rapidly changing world. We type where we once scripted. We stream videos where we used to rent movies. We send messages with a click of a button, and we expect immediate responses. But what about our classrooms? What are we doing to ensure excellence and equity for every one of our students? Dr. Doug Fisher says every student deserves a great education, not by chance, but by design. StudySync is built to do just that. Imagine all of your students engaging rigorous and culturally relevant content. All of your students building skills, held to high expectations, and reaching academic goals. All of your students inspired to be strategic readers, writers, and communicators. It's all possible with StudySync. So how do we do this? In 3 ways. First, when it comes to equity and access, McGraw-Hill education is second to none. With StudySync, teachers create a responsive learning environment, equipping every student for success in college, career, community, and beyond. Second, StudySync is flexible. Teachers are empowered with tools to monitor progress and tailor instruction. Finally, StudySync is ever growing. We're continually adding to and updating the program to keep it relevant. Our design is more than just theoretical. Our team includes thought leaders who are experts in their field. Their research base is a solid foundation for instruction. One such leader is Dr. Doug Fisher, author of Rigorous Reading. Dr. Fisher's close reading routine is embedded into the curriculum in StudySync. Since rich, authentic literature is at the heart of instruction, we rely on the expertise of Dr. Michelle Martin, an advocate for culturally relevant literature. Connecting, important, and Kathy Tucker, an expert in blended learning, helped us create active, engaged learning environments, both online and offline. With these experts, we built StudySync, so teachers, you can feel assured that StudySync provides a clear pathway, one with rich, authentic texts and tasks that will grow in complexity over the course of the school year, as well as from grade to grade. And remember, StudySync is flexible. However you want to access it, print, digital, online, or off, we have you covered. Students have interactive print and novels. There's a print teacher's edition, and everything can also be found online. StudySync is customizable too. Whether you're changing the lexile level on the current events blast, embedding your own instructions into a first read, or assigning a reteaching lesson to a small group of students, it's all possible with StudySync. You can even create and design your own units using StudySync's plethora of ready-to-use lessons. Not only is StudySync delivered in a way that suits your classroom, the nature of the platform enables the program to grow and evolve along with you. We continually update resources throughout the life of the adoption. We add new texts to the library every month and new blasts every school day. Just in the last year, we've added hundreds of grammar lessons, a podcast series featuring student voices on education, and a unit creator tool for customization. StudySync will never feel outdated. The needs of your students change, so your program does too. Because StudySync puts students first. Equity and access drive the design of our instruction and our platform. You'll find automatic digital scaffolds for English learners and approaching level readers, equipped with visual vocabulary, word banks, and interactive sentence frames. These are printable and available for every lesson. Collaborative conversation videos and teacher-moderated anonymous peer review lifts student voice, creates opportunities for choice, and leverages social and emotional learning principles. But it doesn't stop there. Every text in our core program includes audio support and text highlighting. Students can even slow down the audio if needed. Every lesson includes point-of-view supports for for English learners, approaching, and beyond grade level students. StudySync is also accessible to students with a diverse range of hearing, movement, sight, and cognitive ability. Now you've heard how we provide equity and access to all learners. You heard how StudySync's core curriculum is flexible with delivery and customizable content. And you heard how we provide new resources to keep the program fresh, up to date, and engaging. Backed by a team of experts, StudySync wants to help you deliver great learning experiences in your classroom. It means students reaching their potential by design.
So, do we have any
Good.
questions? I know our team would be happy to help answer them for us too.
That's great. Okay, how is this connected with pre-K or K through 5? I mean, is it seamless or?
So it's not the same vendor or company. They did
Yeah.
look at the one that would have
Have-
continued. So we adopted Into Reading for K to 5, and they
Okay.
looked at what you call Into Literature for 6 through 12. But this was a better match than that one. As far as, it connecting together, we feel that it will. I think ultimately it follows the standards and there's a lot of similarities, but this was the better choice for 6 through 12. And in your work with Ed Reports and through our time with RIDE, they don't tell you it needs to be exactly the same. You want to add to that, Julia?
Hi. So when we were choosing this particular curriculum, Into Literature was our first choice. We were looking at Learn Zillion, we were looking at Into Literature, which is the next step up from Into Reading. And we ended up choosing StudySync because I think the best part about our subject is that English language arts is flexible. As long as the students are learning to read actively, questioning the text, asking questions with the teacher and themselves, and interacting with the texts that are provided to them, on top of learning to write properly, learning the writing process, drafting, etc. When we use those skills, we can implement any text, any style to that particular classroom. In terms of math and science, it might be a little bit different just because there's more content standards there. But with English language arts, as long as the students are interacting with the Common Core standards of reading, writing, vocabulary, and speaking and listening, you can really present any text to them. And as long as the teacher is prepared with that particular curriculum, then the student can succeed either way. And I believe there's a committee member, Caroline Corr's not here tonight, but she did she's our 6th grade ELA teacher, one of them, and she discussed with the K through 5, or not K through 5, but Gaudet Learning Academy. And they had discussed that there wasn't too much of a difference jumping from one to the next. And the best part is that when they come into 6th grade, that they will have this curriculum 6 through 12. And that will prepare them for high school and prepare them for college and beyond.
Good question.
And what about different languages?
So this one captured us with that. It had a, yeah.
Actually, these folks, they work so hard in the class.
Yeah, you have to tell them.
Go ahead.
I like to be
Yes.
behind the scenes. This is not my jam. So StudySync has 10 different languages, but they also take our feedback into account, and they will add more as they have the access.
Okay.
Every language available has a summary in the student's native language, said by a native speaker, which
Okay,
is
good.
huge. Visual glossaries for all of those languages. And what?
Yeah.
Oh, and the scaffold. So it has
Oh.
scaffolds
Oh,
for
okay.
all of them built right in. Rather than like with Into Literature, it was like you could use sentence frames if you needed to with your ELL students, but with this program, it does it automatically for you. So it saves a lot of time that you could be spending with your students, and it does that across 10 different languages. So that's what we've got.
Okay. It's those
Another
the
great
two,
question. It's really great question.
It's just those, the next step in changing education is going to look very different. Are we ready for that? That's what I'm looking.
And
for.
we will be.
Yeah.
Yes.
With those two.
Ms. Holden?
I was just wondering, do you see yourself having to supplement anything within this program, or is it one that you think?
I mean, Michelle, we're lucky we have a unicorn on our team, and the amazing reading specialist, Michelle Smith. So
Yep.
she sees so much variety of student needs. Can you speak to?
like along with what Leanne was saying, and those same scaffolds that are in there for English language learners can also be built in for students who are struggling readers. So that was something that was really important to us to have that in there.
And remembering that this is a tier 1 program. So while we probably don't see a lot of need to add to this tier 1, students who might need a tier 2 or tier 3 support might be through a different resource, but we're trying to make sure that we have a program that adjusts at the tier 1 level for our L learners, for our below grade level learners, so that they all have equal access. And I think the investigation proved that this was a great choice for that.
So you're saying tier 2 and tier 3 are more challenging?
So
Or-
when you have a student who's not succeeding on tier 1 in the regular classroom, not on grade level, there are times we need to employ a tier 2 intervention or a tier
Like a
3
reading
intervention.
teacher That's okay. Now I
And sometimes
understand.
with our reading specialist, she might tap into this curriculum, but there also might be other pieces that she does, other resources as well. But those are usually for students who are not meeting standard.
Okay, so I have a question. Are these students going to have, I have 2 questions actually. Are these students going to be able to actually have a book in their hand?
2,400 books from 9 to 12.
Yeah.
How much? How many? I am so happy. You have my support, 1000% on that. You know, I think it's important for children, for students to know how to use the technology. They need to know how to navigate and read because I still don't. So, but there is nothing like picking up a book and being able to navigate a book. I think it's critical because I know when they get into college and a lot of careers, it's all technology, but this is a life skill. And I think that I see so many children with tablets in their hands in the cars, and I'm saying, wait a minute, give them a storybook to look at, learn how to turn a page. Believe it or not, it may sound silly, but that's a good fine motor skill when they're little.
I think our teachers were very passionate about
glad to
that,
hear
having that. I mean, the digital access is wonderful to have, but they wanted hands in books, the books in hands for kids. And we kind of went crazy with our order because we knew that we have the funding right now. I mean, we wrote this into our ESSER 3 plan. So, and we've just been awarded.
One-time funds.
It's likely one
correct,
time.
right.
So we did write this into our plan. I will again give them such credit because they worked with our vendors on exactly what they wanted. Last week, I've got the quote, we are within budget. And again, this is covered through ESSER. So I don't know what we would have done without the ESSER piece because we have to implement this. But it's a large sum of money. And so we're lucky because we were able to get them the novels they wanted, the hardcover books they wanted. I know that the middle school all will have sets of books in their classrooms, but the high school is actually going to have textbooks for every student. So the access is going to be great. Every
In
year,
English textbooks, not just the novels. Those are
they'll have both.
They'll have both. So they're gonna have an actual textbook in their hand for English.
Yes, they will. Yes, they will.
Wonderful.
Yes. And they'll have digital access as well.
Yeah.
So it'll be dual.
It has an app for the students as well. So as much as we all love the print, they, of course.
But I think there needs to be that balance.
So it's both, and they can access the app both on Wi-Fi and off. They can complete their homework offline and upload it that way. And then they'll still have a physical copy.
So one more question I have about books. So I have received emails over the years of novels and books that teachers have chosen for students to read that some parents didn't feel were appropriate. So if you have a scenario like that, and I'm playing devil's advocate for a minute, if you have a scenario like that, are you able to adapt and provide them a different novel? Is that what you were explaining before, that you could provide them a different novel, but still be able to pull the same skill set that you're looking for?
Absolutely. So
Okay.
for every unit in Study Sync, there are 5 options. You can do it or no, 4 options. You can do it as just a standard short reads. And then there are 3 separate novel studies in every single unit for every single grade. So if you come across something that seems a little risky, you can pivot. And then the kids would take the same test no matter what, because the tests are all skills-based. And Study Sync provides content warnings on all of their potentially controversial material that will tell you exactly what you're going to encounter. So that's something you could send home to parents like right at the beginning and see if you're going to have any problems right from the start.
So you teachers have a lot of summer reading to do this summer, don't you?
They're excited to get their materials though, so a few more steps and we can actually order. Yes.
Well, thank you so much. I know I've had 2 children go through the school system, so I'm very excited to hear that the ELA program is going to be ramped up, and I think it's critical for future skills that our students need, whether they go into college or whether they go into careers. Everybody needs to learn how to read and write. And I think there's nothing wrong with a good old pen, not just getting arthritis from typing. So pen and paper and picking up a book are really great things. So I think that some of those old fashioned things need to come back in for students to learn those skills. We all survived and we're sitting here today, so I don't think it will hurt them, you know. Thank you.
And I also want to just thank the passionate group that tirelessly worked on this and is recommending the study sync. So thank you all for your participation, Mr. Soares for your leadership, and also to our 2 principals who also were helpful, very helpful in this choice.
I want to also weigh in and thank this group as well as our K to 5 group, because it's been a long time that I've seen the enthusiasm. I mean, just tonight, you see our teachers really excited about that. There was that same excitement with the K to 6 group. And that, you know, as a superintendent, that's really the joy that I see, that I know is going to spill over to the work you're going to do with the implementation next year. So thank you so much for the hard work and your critical look at this. And thank you, Michelle, for leading this.
I didn't do much. They did the work. Yeah. So thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And being here tonight too. Thank you.
Thank you.
So later in the agenda, under an action item, you know, hopefully you will adopt this program.
You know,
Could I?
go ahead. Okay, I'm just going to say, this is something that I want to expand on for a second. This is something that our community needs to understand of what we do as a district. Our town council needs to understand how hard you folks as educators work on a day-to-day basis. This is incredible of what you've done. And I know the math program that you're about to endeavor coming up next, you know, in the next year is going to be a huge undertaking as well. I just think that our community doesn't always understand what you folks do on a day-to-day basis, what you do at nighttime, what you do on the weekends, when you are working on things like this to provide the ultimate education for our Middletown students. I just had to publicly say that because I think it's great for us to acknowledge you and say great job, but I think it's important for me to emphasize the fact that our town council needs to understand when we're talking about dollars and cents and how we're spending our money and why a curriculum like this costs so much money, why the materials is a huge endeavor and a huge dollar amount. I know we have ESSER funds, but at some point in the future, we're going to have to replenish. We're going to have to sustain. We're going to have to grow, you know, as it evolves over the years and things change. Again, you're going to have to tweak it. So someone's going to turn back and say, oh, you spent this much money in 2022. Why are we spending it again in 27? Well, in 5 years from now, you're going to find new changes. You're going to find tweaks. You're going to find additions as you implement this new curriculum. So I just think it's important that it's understood that though these are ESSER dollars, this is going to have to be sustainable. So in the future, it's the town's going to have to help support these programs because this is critical for our students. So I just have to say that publicly because I think you guys are amazing. And I'm very excited about this curriculum.
And to add on to that, is there a way we could get this presentation in the paperwork to the town council? So they'll be able to see that too?
Sure.
And, you know, you can put it on.
No, we're not asking them for the dollars, but
Right.
this will come up of.
I think it's creative because, you know, we did have an opportunity through the ESSA dollars
for one-time funds.
to use this
Mhm.
rather than put it in our operating budget. You know, it is how we look at distributing the funds.
Well,
And using them effectively, but I will send this.
We did it with technology several years ago with impact aid money and we got still,
Yep.
to this day, it comes up and we've spent this much money on technology and yet here we are today needing it every day. And look what happened last year, 2 years with COVID. So I just think that it's important for our council and our community. And I also think this should go up on our website so that our families can understand what's coming.
Yeah, all of those presentations go on the
Great.
website.
Yes,
It's great.
okay, so we could do that. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you again.
Thank you, everybody. So next is information.
So in your packet, there are a number of things I'd like to draw your attention to. One is the ESSA grant that we were talking about was approved. So you see that in there. Next is a presentation that Dr. Heath did at the town council meeting 2 Mondays ago about our partnership and the exploration, the career exploration at Middletown High School. Additionally, in your information section of your packet is a letter that I sent to parents and staff regarding the budget deficit facing the Middletown Public Schools, an explanation as to an understanding and the broader context of the district's fiscal situation. This did go out. It is on our website, and I did do letters to the editor. And I haven't seen it yet, but I'm sure they will, hopefully we'll put that up. Also in your packet is a letter to our school committee chair and the rest of the school committee from the Auditor General. Since we have said we have a projected deficit, there are certain things that we need to go through as a district along with our town. And those bullet points are outlined here, and we are working on this information. Our interim Finance Director, Dina Dutremble, is pulling this together along with the town. In your packet as well is a letter that I sent to our town council president because there was some confusion why we were not at a meeting, a particular meeting where there was an item on the agenda. Again, I just asked for clarification to avoid any confusion in the future, that if anything on a town council agenda is being discussed or they want us there, to give us notice for that. And again, military impact, Purple Up for military kids information. I did send a letter to the editor about that. And we have our latest edition of the Wave. It's very well done. And I want to thank the students and also Lisa O'Brien for the advisor. It's just fun to read what our students publish. So thank you. That's it for information.
Okay. We have no correspondence. Next, onto the consent agenda. Can I have a motion?
I move that the school committee approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Next is on to new business. Clean energy presentation.
I'm going to ask our facilities director to introduce our speaker tonight.
Yes, good afternoon, Madam Chair, School Committee. I would like to introduce Julian Dash of Clean Economy Development. Clean Economy Development recently received approval and is partnering with the town of Middletown on a solar net metering contract. Julian has a presentation for your viewing. We are asking for school committee approval to enter into this partnership for the benefit of Middletown Public Schools.
Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. Superintendent Rosemary, not Roberta. I will not ever make that mistake again. I apologize in our email correspondence. School committee, thank you again. As introduced, my name is Julian Dash of Clean Economy Development, 225 Dyer Street, Providence, Rhode Island, 02903. And I've been working with the town of Middletown, as well as the city of Newport on exploring possibilities and bringing the results of those bids for remote net metering for the town and school department. I'll get into a little bit of background, but my firm has been representing many public agencies across the state in all matters renewable energy, stemming off of my prior involvement as being the state's director of the Office of Renewable Energy for the state of Rhode Island. So I'll go through the presentation. I'll try to be brief, but if I'll leave it up to the pleasure of the committee. If you want to stop me at any point, that's fine. If you want wait to the end, either way works for me, but obviously you guys will dictate that. So what you'll see here is on our first slide is just an updated process, because we had presented to the town previously through a public request for proposals process to identify, negotiate, and select a renewable energy developer who can provide, and I'll use the town as shorthand if that's okay, to provide the town with remote net metering credits and savings. So I'll go through the process that we've gone through. As you can see, this started way back in July of 27. That's when we issued the original request for proposal. It was done in conjunction with the city of Newport. When I say in conjunction, we used the collective volume of both municipalities' electricity use as a way to take advantage of size and economies of scale. But that's pretty much where the conjunction stops. I want to be very clear that both the city and the town have their own contracts and their own agreements with the developers. There's no kind of intermingling on agreements currently or at any point in the future. But we received 7 responses with 15 options, and we reviewed all of these, spoke with all of the developers, spoke obviously with both the city and the town points of contact, and the town. The council authorized the manager to enter into a net metering credit agreement with NRG Energy. NRG at the time, and still is one of the largest renewable energy developers in the country. They were very active in Rhode Island. But following and shortly after the approval following, NRG did inform the town, as well as they did pretty much every other agency that they were working with in the state of Rhode Island, that they decided to cease operation in Rhode Island, and they sold the contract to another developer who was reputable, but unfortunately that developer was unable to deliver the project to the town on time. So fast forward, we went back out to bid on behalf of the city and the town in March of 2021. We went back to all of the original respondents, and again, through their responses and review of technical and financial analysis, we did select a new developer. The developer that we selected and is recommending for contract tonight is Green Development out of Cranston, Rhode Island. They are one of the more experienced developers in Rhode Island, particularly with respect to providing this specific type of contract, public agency, remote net metering contracts. Next page. So just a quick summary of what remote net metering is. It is a state authorized via the legislature program that allows eligible entities, but in this case, particularly municipalities, to enter into contracts where you can receive the value and the savings of renewable energy projects without actually having to site those renewable energy projects on your own building or land. It's policy that I worked on getting implemented when I was at the state, because when I was at the state, we had a lot of public agencies coming to us saying, hey, we want to do renewable energy, but we simply don't have enough size, be it buildings or land, to actually host enough renewable energy to power all of the needs. So it's a program that's been in place by the legislature, and some of the benefits, as I said, it avoids, any, city or town actually having to put solar or wind on their own physical buildings or land. They can be sized to specifically fit the electricity profile that you're looking. It provides for greater economies of scale, which results in greater savings. It allows for third-party financing, which is essentially allows for contracts like this to happen where there's no out-of-pocket cost for the off-taker. Even with remote net metering, even though you're getting the benefit and the savings from renewable energy projects, you're always connected to the grid, so you never have to worry about that. It's proven. I'll show you on the next slide that it's a growing structure that many public agencies and other eligible entities are entering into. If we can go to the next slide.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's okay. Sorry. This is just a very partial list of entities that have entered successfully in remote net metering contracts, who are saving substantial amounts of money on their utility bills. It's certainly not meant to be an all-inclusive list that
Where is the town of North Middletown?
Yeah.
On there twice, too.
Yes.
I apologize. That is a typo on my first person who's ever caught this in probably 5 presentations. So I apologize for that.
Is it supposed to be us?
It is not. That would be
Town of Middletown.
Oh, it's on there twice.
yeah. I apologize. It's a typo. I apologize.
Yeah, I figured as much. Which town is it supposed to be? Can you tell?
There is no
North Middletown.
Town of Middletown, probably.
It may be the town of Middletown, and then the other one is probably the town of MPQRS, Situate, maybe. I'm just going alphabetical.
So we are participating in some way already.
You are not, no. The town has a contract. The town has approved their contract. The school committee has not.
Oh, so you are supporting the town right now?
The
You're-
town, directly, yes, the
That's what I
town
mean,
2 weeks
okay.
ago has approved that,
2
has
weeks ago?
approved. I
And the
believe it was
town
2 weeks ago.
administrator asked us to equally support it.
I see.
So yes, the town of Middletown has authorized
Okay.
to execute their contract, their remote net metering contract, correct?
Okay.
The point, and again, forgive me for the embarrassing typo that I have here.
Oh my God.
The point is more so to, while I know it still seems like it's a relatively new concept and a new contract structure to save, it has been around since around 2014 or so. But there's a lot of organizations, a lot of other public agencies who have successfully navigated and gone through and executed these contracts and are, from what I understand, satisfied with these contracts. And my firm, while we don't represent everyone that's up there, we certainly don't represent North Middletown because that doesn't exist. But our clients are certainly happy. We typically see most of our clients who come in similarly to what the town has done. They come in at lower than 100% of their kilowatt hour use. I would say almost all, if not all of our clients who do come in at a contract at less than 100% of their use, after they start to see the savings and the ease of the program, they come back and ask if they can increase it to 100%. So it's a demonstration of just the success of the program. Yes, ma'am.
Does the Navy or the military here on the island, are they part of this, or is that separate?
That would be separate. They would not be part of this particular project or contract. That would be separate. Again, just a slight illustration as to how remote net metering works. You'll have in this case, a solar facility that's located remotely in Rhode Island. For example, Tiverton is one of the proposed project sites. That project sends electricity to the utility grid. National Grid then quantifies the value of that electricity. And when I say National Grid quantifies it, they don't set the rates. That the rate structure is set via legislation. So it's they just carry out the function of the calculation and then what the value is. And then through a process where we work with the PUC and the utility in telling them where to send utility credits, they send the value of that electricity to each of the accounts that are identified in the percentages for each account that are appropriate. So you obviously reduce your electricity bill, and then in exchange for those savings, you will pay the solar developer at the agreed rate and net the actual savings. I think the next page kind of really illustrates kind of real life how this works. This is actually taken from a real life electricity bill of one of our clients. The first thing I like to point out is that this particular electricity bill, they do receive remote net metering credits, but they also have a solar facility on their building. I show this just to illustrate that whether currently or in the future, if you plan on actually having solar on your building, these two programs don't conflict. They actually work together. So there wouldn't be any problem with that. And if we could scroll down a little bit more, do two other points. The first question or most frequent question I get is, what if you get your electricity supply from a third-party supplier and not from National Grid? Again, the program works with third-party supply. There's no conflict there. It won't impact your third-party supply contract. In fact, every single one of our clients have a third-party supplier providing their electricity. There's no impact on that. As you can see, the bottom, the last circle, the way this program works is really a renewable energy-based economic transaction. You will receive, in this case, just over $16,000 this client received this month in electricity savings. They will pay their solar provider at the agreed upon rate. And for ease of illustration, let's say that their agreed upon rate comes out to be $10,000. That means that they saved $6,000 net that month on their electricity. So it ends up, while there's a lot of moving pieces and it is still relatively new, once our clients get into the program, they start to realize the relatively ease of understanding and transaction of remote net metering.
I just have one quick question, please. So you're saying that this would be attached to, we would do our school buildings, is what you're saying, and then the town is doing the town buildings.
Correct.
They're doing police, fire, library, town hall, all of that, and then we would do our five buildings.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
Next slide. Yeah, just again, I won't spend too much time about myself and my firm, but again, prior to consulting on renewable energy strategies and contracts for public agencies and other organizations, I was head of this renewable energy fund for the state of Rhode Island. We've operated on and assisted in the development and passage of pretty much all of the primary renewable energy legislation and incentives that are in operation today, including remote net metering. We've worked on kind of all of the incentive programs that are out there, and you can just see a quick list of just some of our clients. Next slide. So again, our review process, once we go out to RFP and we did the updated RFP, is really first communication and clarity. So not only do we send out RFPs and look to receive responses, we look to make sure that we communicate with each of the respondents so that we're clear that they have a clear understanding of what the RFP is, what we're looking for. And then we also like to ensure that rather than them figuring out the best way to provide information to us, that we provide them with a lot of template documents that makes, as you'll see in the second bullet point here, easier and more efficient for all parties to review. A large part of our review comes through our standardization, and that becomes very important in reviewing when you're trying to decipher between 15 different proposal options where one developer may have a different economic assumption than another, even though that economic assumption isn't controlled by the developer. For example, you may have a developer who has the value of a net metering credit at 15 cents and the value of a net metering credit at 18 cents. All things being equal, the developer proposing an 18 cents net metering credit rate would show a better economic value. In reality, the developer doesn't set that rate. That rate's set by the PUC. So we actually don't take any economic information or assumptions from the developers. We actually use a standardized set of assumptions across all respondents to make sure that we have a very clear and consistent apples to apples comparison. And then we do a scoring and recommendation, which we've done, and I'll touch on in a couple slides to the town. Just a little bit more about our technical review. These are the areas that we really like to make sure we hone in on when we select or make recommendations on developers. So it's, what are their capabilities and qualifications? We like to understand the project and its siting, like to understand where it is in the technical and regulatory review of things. That's particularly important with respect to local siting, and if there are any issues, it's important with respect to utility and connection and where they are there. If they have an offtake plan, if the project needs additional off-takers, we like to understand what that risk is or isn't. We like to understand the schedule, the long-term ownership of the project. I think this is pretty important with respect to the town, given the fact that the previous developer selected did not necessarily have a commitment to long-term ownership as evidenced by their ceasing operation in Rhode Island. I can say in this instance, the developer did make a long-term commitment to being the owner operator. We like to ever see if there's any opportunity for local or in-town projects as well. So just an overview of our technical review. Yes, sir.
Right now, I know someone in Middletown who has his own solar panels. And does the current law require National Grid to buy extra electricity that he generates?
So,
He generates more than what it takes in the summer, at least to run his house. Is National Grid required to buy that extra electricity from him?
well, I'm not specifically familiar with his setup, but if it were, for example, what we call behind the meter, net metered project, then what would happen is, say, in the summer months, if he's generating more, those credits will accumulate on his bill. But then in the winter months where he's not generating enough, he should be catching up to those credits. The goal is to make sure that, over a 12-month period, you kind of balance out that curve. So there will be months, and there's always months with all of our clients that.
If he ever had enough solar panels to be ahead, would National Grid be required to pay him the difference?
They are not, no.
They're not, okay. And what would happen if we had a grant in a couple of years to put solar panels on the roof of the high school and generated a substantial amount of electricity? What would that do to this system that we're talking about here?
Wouldn't impact the contract that you have as it's currently structured, mostly because the recommendation is to only contract for 50% of your total electricity use. So even if you put panels on the high school, just given the limited footprint of the high school compared to the school committee's total electricity use, you wouldn't come close to providing 50% of your overall use with a solar panel on your high school.
If I may comment on that, the approach to this was considering where we're at in our future thought process with the schools, is that we would approach it conservatively, which was apply 50%. And then it also gives us that flexibility to make those future decisions. So we're only committed at 50%. So there's a lot more room.
If we ever had the opportunity to do that, we could do it.
Absolutely.
We get the benefit and it
Yes.
wouldn't interfere with this program that's going on right now.
Absolutely. That's what we retain that flexibility.
And I see that the town has signed a contract for 25 years.
Correct.
And the town's recommending that we do the same.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Just to, again, try to continue to be brief. I'm not sure how well I've been at being brief, but this is kind of how we like to start the process, just looking at the developer overview and the firms that responded, give us a high level look at who they are, where they are, what their strengths and capacity is. Yes, ma'am.
Well, no,
Oh, okay.
continue, and
I'm
then
going to go to
I'll
the
ask
next
my
slide.
question. Go ahead.
Next slide. We then like to look at a project overview, which gives us, again, a snapshot of the project, where they are, what the technology is, what's the siting, do they have site control, local support, kind of high-level key metrics, schedule, zoning, permitting, and their utility interconnection. And all of these are meant to show kind of the start of the process of what we look at from a technical project and economic standpoint. More detailed packages have been provided to the town with kind of a more thorough review, but this, again, for purposes today, is kind of a highlight of what we look at. Next slide. So again, our review process, again, we like to standardize matters. So we made sure when we did our economic review, we standardized and assumed a 25-year contract. We fixed the number of kilowatt hours that every proposal could provide us. We fixed a contract start date, as well as fix what the values of net metering credits are, utility escalations, and annual panel degradation, just to make sure, again, we're doing a apples to apples economic comparison. And as you'll see on the next slide, you'll see what the proposed savings are, and the two respondents who we're recommending today, where they are, where they rank at the top economically. They also rank fairly strongly technically, hence they ultimately became the recommended option. As you can see, we obviously kept the rest of respondents. We don't like to identify the other respondents, just to keep their own business confidential if they're not awarded. But that's obviously something that we've provided confidential versions to the town for. And again, if you look at scoring on the next page, we do look at going through those same points: experience, technical, regulatory, offtake, long-term ownership, siting schedule, and whether or not they have in-town projects. I do have the second typo, but it doesn't impact the calculation. That the technical score does add up to 50, not 55. That was a fixed number, and we removed one item from the columns in our second review. But in all transparency, I wanted to point that out because I know there are very diligent people on this committee. But the point, I think you'll see that the recommended respondent still had the highest score on the technical side as well. And I think that's a reflection of just their specific experience in developing and delivering these projects in and across Rhode Island municipalities. So next page. Did I skip your question?
No.
Okay.
I'll ask it after.
So the selected developer, Green Development of Rhode Island, they've developed and constructed close to 75 megawatts of renewable energy projects in Rhode Island. To put that in perspective, that's, they kind of go back and forth with one other firm as to which one is the largest developer in Rhode Island. So they're the top 1 or 2 in Rhode Island, depending on kind of where they fall in the calendar. 50 of those megawatts are specifically for Rhode Island municipalities and public agencies under the very type of contract that we're recommending today. They own nearly their entire portfolio. I think that is important, and I have found that our clients believe that's important because, this is a long contract as we see, and it's important to know kind of, 5 years down the line, you can still call the same folks, and they're going to be the ones who own and operate it. And with that, this firm has a very strong in-house EPC, which is engineering, procurement, and contracting team, as well as operations and maintenance personnel. So they don't outsource nearly as much of the project development and operations as others. They procured all the systems and components. They'll continue to be the main point of communication. They have strong references, and they have some of the earliest abilities to start delivering credits to the town as early as late of this year, if not first quarter of next year. Next slide.
I have a question. How long has this company been in business?
They have been in business, I should know that off the top of my head, I believe 10 or 12 years. Should have it on the.
So these are projected savings. It's not showing what people have saved so far in the.
It does not show what people have saved so far.
Right, so it's projected savings over the course of
Correct.
25 years.
Correct. And these are based on what we think are relatively conservative assumptions. We look at about a 2% annual. They've been in business for 12 years.
So you are a project manager, but so we would be hiring actually Green Development.
Correct.
And you work for Clean Economy Development.
Correct.
So it's 2 different companies.
Correct.
Okay, I'm just trying to understand
Yep.
this. So your company is seeking them out? I'm not quite sure. I'm confused.
We were hired by the town to be
To find somebody.
Right, an independent consultant to go out,
Okay.
bid, and provide independent expertise, analysis, review, and recommendation.
Okay, I understand now.
Yep.
Just was trying to put the pieces together.
Nope, no
Sorry.
worries.
Can I ask,
Yes, sir.
what do you do? Put meters on the electrical input that comes in today or? Oh,
As far,
how do you get the savings? Is there a computer program that calculates the input? I mean, because you're talking about using capacitors to store energy when it's not being used. Is that correct? Am I
not
off
in this
that?
situation. I think that was the example that the gentleman here gave about the in-town project, which would be, if I'm understanding it correctly, slightly different than what this is. Because his is on-site and directly feeding his meter. These projects are not on-site. So the way it works is a solar project will produce, call it $1 million worth of electricity in a month. I don't know, right? that solar project, the output will be verified by National Grid at the point of where it interconnects at the utility point. So National Grid would say, yes, this project produced $1 million worth of electricity this month. And again, for very simple and easy illustration, let's say there's 10 accounts that you have that are all the same size. So in that month, we would say send 100,000 of the $1 million that were generated to each of our 10 accounts. So that's how it works. I mean, I'm not sure if that gave you the explanation you're looking for, but I can certainly retry that.
It helps. I know, this is another strange question. You're dealing with National Grid. Now, National Grid is a foreign-owned company, and I understand it's being sold.
Yep.
You know what the new company is?
PPL, yes.
PPL?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And that stands for power.
Pennsylvania Power.
Yeah, it's
There you go.
Pennsylvania Power and Light.
Pennsylvania. Okay.
I think the very, very insightful question. I think most poignant fact with respect to the potential sale is that, so National Grid, as you guys folks probably know, they don't provide us with electricity. They're tasked with essentially managing the utility grid. So PPL will be buying that business to manage the utility grid. Much, if not all, of that management is guided by the PUC and by the legislature. So it's not like PPL can come in and say, you know what, we like these programs and we don't like these programs, so we're going to stop with these programs because, for example, in this case, the remote net metering program is under Rhode Island statute. It's a law. So whoever is the utility is required as part of them having the monopoly of managing the utility to implement this aspect of, quite frankly, the law. And so if they chose not to, it would literally be breaking the law, which I'm pretty sure they're not in the business of doing. Could be wrong, but. So I hope that gave a little comfort with respect to the potential sale. So just a little bit about the contract review. You know, we've reviewed and negotiated the contract with Green, as we've done many times over, not only with Green, but with other developers as well. We're only targeting 50% of the electricity use. The town will purchase the credits at Green for a fixed rate, and you can start to receive credits as soon as, you know, I think it's going to be Q3 of 2021. And what we look out for, particularly in these contracts, is making sure that there's protections for the town with respect to the ability for early termination if there's non-performance, long-term termination options, ensuring that the developer assumes all the capital and operational risk, delivery, performance, production, ensuring that the town only pays for credits that are received. I know that sounds like it should be straightforward, but a lot of times under these contracts, clients are on the hook for kind of estimated production or estimated delivery versus actual delivery. I think, you know, one of the advents of us being so active in the market is that we have negotiated successfully not to have those provisions in our contracts, but we actually verify the credits before making payment to the developer. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I think.
We all
this
got
is
it.
what-
Okay.
No, this is what I was looking at. What happens if the grid goes offline, say like through a cyber attack?
So you'll always be connected to the grid. So if it goes offline, you'll be offline. And quite frankly, anyone, even the gentleman you referenced who has panels on
Yes.
his own building, that person is on the grid and they will go offline. So
Will we still have to pay when it's not online?
no, you only pay for the credits that you actually receive. So if for some reason, whether it goes offline, whether the system blows up, whether it just stops working, again, we verify on a monthly basis, this is how many credits you received, here's the value of those credits, here's, and we reconcile that with their invoice and say either it's accurate or it's not. And if it's not accurate, we work with the developer to make sure that it is. So you only pay for what's actually delivered.
You only pay for what you need.
Yeah,
Sounds like a
right.
Liberty commercial.
That's it. Okay, and what about, will this be billed to our budget or is this a town-wide budget? Does it,
It's
our budget.
Our budget. So we have to pay that amount. I'm
We
looking,
have to pay utilities anyway. This is going to,
Credit.
this is going to help
gonna
with
be a
bring our
credit.
utility bills down.
yes.
Yeah.
But, okay, and that one, yeah, my previous question would come with that. If anything should happen, we don't have to pay.
Correct.
That's fine.
So again, I think the point of this slide is that we've gone through, and again, for the town, but built upon our years of experience in negotiating these contracts, ensuring that the town has what I consider some of the best, if not the best provisions contractually. So next slide.
The town solicitor has vetted this.
Yes.
Okay, because maybe we could try to negotiate that they pick up the tab, that the town picks up the tab. But that's another.
When you say tab, it's really,
the amount- or the,
It's just our general utilities though, Lee.
Yeah.
It's no
Yes.
different than paying National Grid. It's just,
Right.
this is gonna be a savings.
But could we do that? Whether we pay it now, but we could ask.
Well, that's a separate thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
So with this being schools though, again, like that whole summer, like in the summer, do they tend to accrue more credits that get dispersed like throughout the year? With it-
yeah,
with the-
you'll likely see an accruing of credits in the summertime.
Mhm.
But we've gone through all of your National Grid bills with
Mhm.
National Grid to kind of figure out where you guys are as far as total kilowatt hour use. So actually, in this case, you probably won't see an accrual only because we're only doing 50%.
50% goes
So,
back to that
so,
50%,
but we
you're
can
right,
keep, we
okay,
can keep
getting that.
tracking because we want to
Mhm.
make sure, you're as close to 50% as possible. But because you're at 50%, you won't be
That's right.
underwater at any point.
Yep.
So you don't have to, if you ever decided to move up to 100%,
Mhm.
you will see accruals in the summertime, and that's just natural, right? Because there's less use, yet more production. But our goal, and we've been successful with this with all of our clients, is that evens out over the course of the year. So in the, January, February, March, November, December months, you're not getting as many credits and you're burning off whatever you've accrued.
And it said earlier, something about the town can reallocate.
Yeah, so
Who is sort of
So-
in charge of that?
So we're essentially keeping these separate. We're just entering into this partnership through the RFP there.
They're-
So we're gonna still focus on our buildings.
Okay.
But if we would have that flexibility, for instance, if there was a building that was taken offline, we could apply those credits to other areas. Am I
You
correct
could,
on that?
yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we do that frequently with our clients, just, sometimes they may have a building that,
Mhm.
for programmatic reasons, have really reduced their electricity use, so we'll tell the National Grid, hey, can we drop the percentage of credits going to that building and
Mhm.
increase the credits to another account? So
Okay.
we can we could do that on a quarterly basis with the utility. So again, our recommendation is for green development for 50% of your use, or 1.1 or so million kilowatt hours at a fixed price of 10.2 cents. Again, I've kind of already gone over who Green Development is as far as a local Cranston-based Rhode Island who's very experienced. The next page. One thing that we've done here with the town, we're making the recommendation to go with the developer instead of a specific project. And they have provided specific projects to us, and I think the project that is most likely to be selected for the town is their Tiverton, Rhode Island project. The reason that we've made the recommendation to go with the developer is because they do have a strong pipeline of projects. And where we see the market right now, there's ebbs and flows, and right now there's strong interest in remote net metering projects, and we do see projects come off the board, and we wouldn't want the town to be in a position where if you were set on, for example, their North Smithfield project, for whatever reason, because we started this process, who knows how long ago, and it takes time to get approvals, it would be not in the best position if we made an award to a specific project this evening and we call the developer and for some reason it's no longer available because, they've had other clients sign on to it. That happens at times. I'm not sure if it would happen here, but again, because they have a strong pipeline and they've submitted specific projects, our recommendation is to contract with Green Development for the execution of remote net metering contracts at that price. And it could come from one of these two projects or possibly a third. Obviously, that will all be subject to approval by the council when we negotiate and execute the contract. But it's slightly different, and I think it actually bodes better for our clients, particularly given where the market is. So these are just some of the project summaries, as you can see, North Smithfield and Tiverton. And then as next steps, we'll look for, well, council approval, in this case, committee approval. And with that committee approval, we'll work simultaneously with the council to get identical contracts, or to the extent that they can be identical contracts, signed between both the council and the committee and the developer. And then we'll look to see, as the project develops, as the developer moves forward and brings the project onto commercial operation. So that's our recommendation for the committee to authorize the superintendent to negotiate and execute a remote net metering contract with Green Development.
Okay, we have that on an action item later. So thank you for the presentation, Julie.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Did you want to add anything?
No,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Sure. We could go. Yeah. Okay. Now. Okay.
So we're gonna have to change the agenda a little bit. We're gonna go into executive session now. And then we'll come back and do old business and the action items. Because so if I can have a motion to go into executive session, please.
I move that we go into executive session, consider and vote on motion to convene into executive session 42-46-5A2 regarding possible litigation and collective bargaining, discussion of employee separation agreement, legal advice regarding employee separation agreement and potential litigation, report on collective bargaining with certified and non-certified staff.
Second.
With a motion and a second, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. We'll reconvene shortly. Thank you. Roll call, oh, Kim. I apologize, I made a mistake. I have to do a roll call vote to go into executive session. All in favor, Bill?
Aye.
Tammy?
Aye.
Lee?
Aye.
Doug?
Aye.
I myself. We'll reconvene shortly. Thank you. Sorry, folks. Okay, we're gonna reconvene out of executive sessions. Can I have a motion to reconvene?
I move that we reconvene.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
At 6:05. No vote was taken. Can I have a motion to seal the minutes?
I move that we seal the minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now I need a motion to readjust the agenda again, and we're gonna do our action items before old business.
I move that we readjust the agenda to action items next and old business afterwards.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, can I have a motion on policy 5025?
Move that Title IX policy and protocol for reporting and investigating
5035, not
policy 5025
35.
says
I
25 on
know,
my
I
sheet.
know, it's a mistake.
It's 35.
35. Yep.
Oh, I thought you
Okay.
didn't make-
15, or is it?
I move that
It's
policy
15.
5035, Title IX policy and protocol for reporting and investigating sexual harassment and retaliation, first reading.
Second.
Any discussion?
No, again, this is a policy that we are required to adopt. We will be, we met with our building principals and all of us have been trained, but we will need to identify a coordinator, an investigator, a decision maker for each of the various scenarios.
Is that a federal or a state mandate?
Federal.
Federal. Thank you.
All right. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Can I have a motion on policy 7114R annual MOU between the Middletown School Department and the Middletown Police Department?
I move that the school committee approve the annual memorandum of understanding between the Middletown School Department and the Middletown Police Department.
Second.
Any discussion?
This, again, this is just our typical yearly renewal with our police chief. Our police chief came to our administrators meeting Monday. Also, I want to announce that Officer Toomey is our SRO at the high school. So we'll bring him to a meeting so you can meet him at one point.
I do have a quick, do we have any full-time police?
We have two school resource officers. Officer Toomey just joined our team, I think this week. And Officer Costa is at our middle school as our school resource officer.
Are they in uniforms?
Yes.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Okay, sorry, I got a little disorganized here in my pile of stuff. Can I have a motion on the policy revision of Director of Finance?
I move that the school committee approve revisions to the Director of Finance policy.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Can I have a motion on the vehicle charging station?
I move that the school committee approve a 25-cent per kilowatt hour fee for charging vehicles.
Second.
Any discussion? I personally think it's a great idea.
Yep. Is that what they usually charge, within the town or the state? What do other people charge?
It varies, but we approach that from just basically from a covering cost perspective. It's very conservative.
A lot of places are free.
Yes.
We don't have any revenue, so we gotta at least help it sustain its
Cover
own.
the cost, yeah.
Cover the
Yes,
cost.
just
So it's
cover the
not that we're
cost.
charging anything extra, not making anything off of it, so I think covering the
And
cost
this
is a
is
fair
for
deal.
one
Can I ask
year?
Bob, how much would it cost somebody for an hour? You think, any idea?
An hour, it's roughly about $1.
I know where I'll be if I ever can afford one. Okay, that's
Like
fine.
last time.
I was, because I noticed the price was only per kilowatt. So you,
Yeah, but if you're charging $1 an hour, you're saving a lot on gas.
oh,
so-
why,
Let me correct that. It's actually 25 cents per hour, but a typical charge is about 4 hours. So you're looking at about $1 to charge a vehicle.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Can I get a motion on homeschooling?
I move that the school committee approve homeschooling 21-22-30.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Can I get a motion on the 6 to 12 ELA curriculum?
I move that the school committee approve the adoption of Study Sync for the grade 6 to 12 ELA curriculum.
Second.
Any discussion? I think it's great. Again, thank you to the team and Michelle and everybody that worked with you. I think it's fabulous. All in favor? Aye. Can I get a motion on the town council resolution?
I move that the school committee support the town council resolution regarding support for the ARPA proposal.
Second.
Any discussion?
The town council approved this resolution and they have forwarded to us for your approval. This is the creation of that department at the town. Michelle and myself, we've been sitting in on the subcommittee, Middletown Outreach Subcommittee meetings. And You know, we provide resources to them, explain our programs, and really lobby for no redundancy in the programs.
Right.
Um,
Maybe that, yeah.
So that, you know, that's pretty primarily our role on the thing. I don't, Michelle,
So
you
what are
want
they
to
gonna
add
do with this?
anything to
What are they gonna do with this position
Mhm.
that they're creating? Or
They-
they're giving the dollars, they're
They,
giving all the dollars to
they
us?
are giving us dollars at this point, yes.
Yeah, I'll go over it in my status update, but it's in your packet as well.
Right.
But they have committed to funding our November through May Beyond the Bell, our partnerships with the Boys and Girls Club and with M-Cozy, as well as the Summer Beyond the Bell. So we had written to them as like a grant and asking them to support that, and they have committed to supporting those.
For 1 year?
Well, right now through the summer, and then they've talked about future funding as well.
Okay, excellent. Thank
A
you.
quick question. I know I'm weak on these magic abbreviations, but do you know what is APRA
It's
stand?
American Rescue Act dollars.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be ARPA. It's American Rescue something. Protection Act? Something. So this is the money that the town received, and they're gonna help us support our after-school programs and Beyond the Bell. Okay,
Thank you.
any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Can I have a motion on the clean energy?
I move that the school committee approve partnering with the town council on the clean energy project.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Can I have a motion on the NEAM contract?
I move that the school committee approve the collective bargaining agreement with NEA Middletown expiring August 31st, 2023.
Second. Oh,
Any-
no, I'm sorry.
Second.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
Get a
yes,
second.
second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, can I have a motion on the resignation?
I move that the school committee approve the following resignations. Kirsten Stoll, guidance counselor, Middletown High School, August 31st, 2022.
Second.
Any discussion? I'm very sad she's leaving. She's been a great asset, and I just want to say it out loud. Kirsten has been a great guidance counselor. She's been a great asset to our high school, and really has worked hard with the students when it came to filling out FAFSAs and things like that. I went to a meeting over there, and she's been a big part of that to work with students and for the college preparations and different types of applications, the Common App. So I just want to commend her and thank her for her time here, served at Middletown High School, and wish her well. So, all in favor? Aye.
Could I just go back to the NEA contract? When I was proofing this, I didn't catch this. The motion should be the NEA contract expiring August 31st, 2022. I see some of our teachers looking,
Oh.
right? No.
No.
Okay.
No, that's correct.
That's correct? Okay. All righty.
This is the 1 year.
The 1 year, yes.
So that was correct.
And the last motion.
Okay, and the last motion.
I move that the school committee approve the separation agreement, subject to execution of agreement and receipt of the letter of resignation.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, before we move on, I just want to thank the teachers and recognize that they know our financial challenges. Greatly appreciate the hard work that you've done, and that this 1 year rollover contract is very reasonable with a 1.3% increase. It's a very fair contract, and we thank you for that. Our teachers have gone above and beyond during COVID, and we think it's important to acknowledge their hard work. The adjustment of having to do distant learning, the adjustment to get back into person and be safe. So I just think it's really important that we acknowledge our teachers. Many of our teachers have worked with our students and Beyond the Bell. They have provided social and emotional support to our students. and students that required interventions. And we encourage the town council to recognize the efforts of our teachers and approve this as well and fund this contract when we propose our budget in the near future. So I just wanted to make sure I comment on that, and I thank you, all teachers. Please pass that along, the ones that are here. We know it's been a challenge, and we appreciate all of you living up to that challenge and supporting our students to the 11th degree and getting them through this past 2 years. So thank you very much.
I just want to mention that the town council will receive this in executive session for Monday's meeting. So that will be their first reading, and then in 2 weeks, they will have a decision whether to approve or not on this.
Okay. Do we need to go back? Old business?
If you go back to old business, the enrollment update is in your packet. So rather than call it up now.
I can give it. I'll take 2 seconds.
We just, on the second page there, thank you. You just see our enrollment. You know, we do have new students coming in. There's 9 students that have entered since our March 17th meeting. Our total enrollment is 1,973 students. We do have a number of our, I lost that number. I think it's 72 homeless. Gave me, 72 homeless that we report to RIDE. So that's our current update for enrollment. Moving on to superintendent's- Oh, the building committee. The building committee did want to reconvene tomorrow, but we were unable to get everybody aboard for that meeting. So we will set up another meeting. I'll talk to the chairs on that.
Okay, that's what you're gonna talk about later, right?
Yes.
Under
Oh, I sent it to you.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I
I
made
know.
copies.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, you made copies.
Yeah,
Okay.
Mary did.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Sent it to you. Yeah.
Building committee update, I'm sorry, what
We
you say?
did that. The building committee, they wanted to meet tomorrow, but we couldn't really arrange that. So we will have a future meeting.
Okay,
Is
next.
that with all of the building committee or just that select group?
Just the building committee.
Oh, okay.
I think Mrs. Spangler is going to talk about that during her reports of what happened with the building committee.
Okay, next we will move on to superintendent reports.
Just to report on the recent personnel, Lauren Rogers was hired as our 6th, 7th, and 8th grade softball coach. Ashley Silvera, varsity softball, Jake Cathers, junior varsity softball, Bob Lachlan, assistant varsity softball, Eric Godin, varsity baseball, John Cawley, junior varsity baseball, Michael Schuerman, assistant varsity baseball, Jamie Pulio, varsity outdoor coach, Maria Coleman, track, Jamie Pulio, varsity outdoor track, Maria Coleman, girls assistant outdoor track, Eric Wicks, boys assistant outdoor track, Eric Wright, boys, varsity boys tennis, Lisa Clark, varsity golf, Blair Alexander, varsity girls lacrosse, Neil Heron, varsity boys lacrosse, Catherine Hamilton, assistant varsity girls lacrosse. Effective April 11th, Lauren Nielsen will be our building-based sub at Gaudet Learning Academy. Effective April 11th, pending completion of Para Pro course, Marlene Brooks, 4-hour teacher assistant at Quidnick School. Beyond the Bell hires effective March 25th, 2022. Ann Murphy, grades 6 through 8. Kristen Moniz, grades 6 through 8. Beyond the Bell hires effective April 12th, 2022. Catherine Perry, grades 6 through 8. Resignation that you accepted, Kirsten Stahl, guidance counselor, Middletown High School. Effective the end of school year. So curriculum, I'm going to have Michelle talk about the curriculum update.
Yes, as Mrs. Krager mentioned, we have been attending the Middletown outreach meetings with the town. And in our recent meeting, they did review some of the funding, which I want you just to make sure you're aware of. We will have the Beyond the Bell program November through May, fully covered teacher salaries and benefits, as well as materials and buses. And then the partnerships with the Boys and Girls Club and MCOSY are also listed under that. Also, the summer program totaling about 253,000 will be funded through the town as well. They will be covering the teachers' salary and benefits, teacher assistant salary and benefits, the busing, and our coordinators' stipends, as well as transitional staff for our camp, which will happen from some of our, I think I mentioned it to you last time, but our program will run from the morning, and then those students will be allowed to stay for camp in the afternoon. So, and then supplies and materials. And again, that 253,000 is included in the town administrator budget. We also have STEM camp coming, which is the DUDIA grant, and that's fully funded, and that will be the first week of August. Some future funding from the town that they have proposed and is in the town administrator's proposed funding for the next meeting includes Middletown High School career teacher, includes an early childhood parents as teachers program, includes Beyond the Bell coordinator that would oversee all of our school coordinators, and November through May of next year, Beyond the Bell funding. So there's a continued pledge from the Middletown outreach to support the programs that we are currently running in the Beyond the Bell program. And we did give them an update that Beyond the Bell has 375 students running until the end of May. We also let them know on some other pieces that we're working on, including the Middletown High School Career Fair, which will be on May 19th. And that will run from 8:15 to 10:45. It's listed in your status update. And as you know, we had a very successful February vacation camp. We had over 60 students attend, and we are looking forward to next week. We have an April vacation camp with over 60 students now registered. And that will be Nature's Playground theme. I listed a few partnerships just as a review of the partnerships we're working on at the high school. And I think you heard about some of those at the town council meeting. And just to let you know, we've got that robust summer plan happening right now. The letters were sent out this week inviting our students to attend. So we're starting to build up our enrollment for summer. And thank you so much for approving the 6 through 12 ELA recommendation. I think it's the right choice for Middletown, and we're really excited about getting that purchased. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Michelle. In terms of finance, our interim finance director, Dina Dutremble, is still working on our numbers. We meet weekly with our town administrator and director of finance on the town side to review all the benchmark reports that need to be submitted based on the Auditor General's information and what the town is requesting. Mr. Tangway does approve all our purchase orders that we send over there. Mrs. Dutemple is really going through line by line all of our budget lines. We hope to hone that 1.2 projected deficit down, and it's looking that like it might be less than that as we review line by line. So there's been a great deal of work going on in the business office. It's really a team effort to get this done.
Has any of that federal money due us arrived?
The impact aid, we did get another, we haven't met our budgeted revenue, which is about 800,000. We have about 400, so we're halfway there. When I was in DC, we should be getting our budgeted and maybe a little bit more added revenue through impact aid prior year payments.
And do they give us an estimate of when that will
It
arrive?
would be before June.
Great.
Yeah. So that's pretty much our budget report. We'll be submitting our restricted budget. Attorney Miller is preparing that along with our interim finance director. And those are the restricted funds, which really are all of our grants.
Rosemary, that federal impact aid, that has a direct result on the budget deficit?
It could, if we get prior year payment. If, we, as I said, we budgeted about 800 and something $1,000. If we get more than that, we could, you through a vote, school committee vote, could allocate whatever prior year payment we get to help offset that budget. The budget deficit. Okay.
Technology?
Well, we have facilities
Oh,
first.
sorry.
Yeah.
I don't have anything further to add other than the presentation.
Okay, great. And our technology director is out in the field tonight with implementing our phone system. He's at a Quidnick school. We've had a cutover here at Quidnick, at Oliphant for a phone system. Last night or the night before was Forest Avenue cutover. Tonight is a Quidnick school, so he's there doing that cutover. And then in the next few weeks, it will be the larger schools, Gaudet and the high school. Is there anything else he wanted to?
No.
You have it in your status report, but we're moving along nicely.
Excellent. Okay,
That concludes my reports.
can I get a motion to receive the superintendent reports?
I move that the school committee receive the superintendent's reports.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Reports of officers and committees. Go ahead, Lee.
Oh, you had something.
Yeah, no, that's right. Well, yeah, all right, I'll go first. I'll go
Yeah.
first. I just want to comment on the articles that have been in the paper regarding regionalization, and I want to clarify a few things. One thing is that we do not know any more than what has been in the paper and besides what the meeting was when we were at the town council meeting. The town council, Middletown Town Council and Newport City Council started these meetings together without the school districts involved. And then they brought RIDE in and are looking at reimbursement rates of what kind of reimbursements the districts would receive if we regionalized on the upper levels. However, at this point, we're being told that there's the potential that the high school would still be Middletown High School, Rogers would still be Rogers High School, and then a potential elementary school. So there's still a lot of discussions. And there's a lot of educational pieces that have to be discussed so that we can ensure that the educational curriculum is implemented if we're going to do something like this. We do need to keep an open mind and see where these discussions go and the talks go. A big part of the regionalization too is regionalizing administration versus versus the actual building. So there's a lot of discussion to go on. I just want people to be open-minded until we can get all the facts and figure out exactly what's going to happen next. So I don't know any more than that, except for what I read in the newspaper myself. So,
Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
Mrs. Fenton.
Okay, I was going through the status report and the green economy for farming at the high school. Is there any way that we could connect that with the blue economy to do ocean type of farming and so forth? And connect it with Roger Williams and URI for what they're doing
I think
as
there is
business-
potential there and
as partners.
yeah, I do think there's potential there.
and funding.
We do need to have a conversation with our high school principal
Okay.
There's also a group going on about the green economy that they want to meet with us too. So after break,
Right. Yes,
you know, we,
please. I won't do anything until
yeah, we'd
May.
like to meet
Yeah,
with that.
beginning of May.
Interestingly enough, I know Mr. Pacheco has been meeting with the student and the student's parent about reactivating the greenhouse at the high school
Mm.
and potential funds or donations to do that. So, you know, we're going to look at that proposal that they have, sit down with our finance director to take a look at what that would cost. But there is an opportunity because there is a club up there, correct?
So there's a club,
Mhm.
okay. And tell me more about, because I have some people who would like to.
Okay, so as soon as we, it actually just came to our attention today.
Oh, today.
We, Mr. Pacheco had a meeting with the dad and student. So I haven't had a chance to debrief with him, but we will include you in that. Seems like a real good potential.
Yeah, and because I might. Oh, wait, and I'll talk to you. privately.
Yes.
Okay. And then the Rhode Island School Board Association also has this Monday had a meeting on the educational, formula. I sent this to you, email also, but you can read this. And then if you go onto our website at the State School Board Association, you will see all the lectures that we have had, and you can see it. The lectures are better because we ask some in-depth questioning about funding and everything else. And so as they're going through this to look at the educational aid and funding formula, it should be good. Plus, we have education as a right at the state level. It has passed the Senate, and now it's in the House. And if it passes in the House, which we're hoping, it will go onto the ballot to make education a right in the state of Rhode Island under a state charter. So, so we're working on just the House right now, and then we'll get, once it's on the ballot, then I would feel.
I know the Superintendent's Association has supported that as the school.
Yes,
committees
and
association.
even RIPAC and so forth.
Massachusetts is
Yes.
right, isn't it? Yeah.
Massachusetts has a right to public education. And that makes a big difference, and it'll help us with our budgeting.
Mhm.
Okay.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, we'll see.
You gonna do that?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Okay. I had attended a conference in San Diego, and I saw this book and I thought of a school system. This is a story of the philosophies of Mr. Rogers, and it is good. So we would like to present this from all
To
of
you.
us to you. Okay.
good.
And to
Thank
the
you so
staff,
much.
however you
Enduring
wanna do
lessons
it.
for raising creative, curious, caring kids.
Yes,
Oh
and
my
it's all
gosh.
part of what we're doing with our social emotional,
Uh-huh.
and it's excellent.
Oh, look at this. Well,
And-
And all of you've signed it.
You get our personal signature.
Oh my gosh, that's better than the office.
You got that too, don't you?
I know.
Right?
Yes.
The office
Yes.
signature.
Oh, the
And-
office there.
And the
Flip one more
authors
page
would
back.
love to come
There you go.
to us in Middletown
Uh-huh.
to do any discussions.
Oh, we'll take a look at that for professional development.
And
Thank you so much. I
also-
can't wait.
Yeah, it is very good. And also from us, there's something you could raffle and for our children anytime you want to. It's a 6-month family membership to Y, and it's for $500. So go and
So let's see if we can
enjoy.
get some money You have anything coming up? Any school fundraisers that somebody
I'm
could?
sure.
We can, yeah,
We can use that as a
Just make sure
fundraiser
that-
dollar amount?
Sure, isn't that
the
nice?
money
That's
goes
great.
To the children, yeah.
Thank you.
And plus a nice gift certificate too.
Uh-huh. Oh,
And that's it.
thank you.
You're more than welcome.
Thank
Very
you for
nice.
your
Yes.
leadership, your expertise, your team that you have.
Oh,
Shell, you've been a huge asset. Bob, we've got Dina as an interim and David.
yeah.
We are a very lucky district, though we have our challenges and our obstacles, and
Mhm.
we're struggling with dollars and cents right now. We do have an amazing team. We have amazing teachers. We have amazing admin. We have amazing teachers. We have amazing families, and we've got the best students. So, I think that we're very lucky to live in a community like this.
And
So-
seeing it.
And the best
state-
school committee, really.
And seeing it statewide, I totally agree. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, we're functional, we're doing so well. Yes, we have our little bumps, but that's communication.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're more than welcome.
Anybody have anything else?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, everybody. First, I want to say everybody have a happy Easter and Passover and enjoy your spring vacation. Everybody be safe, travel safely, and do your home test before you go back to school. No, I'm just kidding. All right, Mr. Arnold, I need a motion.
I move we adjourn at 6:36.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good night.